Hello, welcome to Flavor. I'm Kevin Reading. We would like to invite you to join us as we explore interesting people and places of the Chesapeake region. From basic eats to culinary treats, we'll show you what it takes to put flavor on your table. Today we're going to take a trip to Ellendale, Delaware, visit a good friend of mine, Bob Russell. Bob's been in business since 1984 and has been supplying Rehoboth and Delaware with the finest produce in the area. He does heirloom cherry tomatoes, he does incredible lettuces, and I'm looking very forward to going to see him, see what he has growing today. I'd like to welcome you to Flavor.
Thank you.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit how you got started.
Had a great crop of basil and knocked on a kitchen door, and the chef was so impressed with the flavor because it was picked that morning as opposed to shipped from California.
Sure.
The fact that I would sell in small quantities as opposed to large cases, which meant that a lot wouldn't go to waste.
Right.
And the fact that the flavor and shelf life was just superior to anything that we had ever seen before. My college background is a degree in psychology, so I do talk to the plant.
And it probably helps you when you talk to the chefs.
To the chefs,
we need a lot of psychological.
Yeah, we worked that out. We worked that out. But now I continue my education. A lot of it is through dining and talking to people like you, learning about what is needed.
Right.
And also go to farm meetings during the wintertime. We're actually speaking at conferences ourselves. Mm-hmm. And not only the agricultural meetings, but we love going to restaurant shows and food-related events also.
But your product around the Rehoboth Beach area is renowned, and I know at this point that you're pretty primarily a restaurant-geared operation.
Yes. Because the operation basically is my wife Barbara and I, and as it is now, through from Valentine's Day on to about Thanksgiving, we literally work all the time.
The concentration.
It's a labor of love. But this is a beautiful English lavender that is just starting to bloom, and from chef's point of view, from your point of view, it has a stiff stem, will stand up, easy to use.
Beautiful garnish.
Beautiful garnish. And it has a fragrance that's nice on it.
And these are all edible too. I mean,
definitely.
Everything that goes on the plates are edible.
Yeah, some of them might be a little rougher texture-wise, but it wouldn't hurt you to eat any of this. French tarragon I love matching with things like lobster and in sauces, and it has a nice anise flavor.
I think I've sent you a little tarragon bread in the past.
Oh, God.
And it just so aromatic and just kind of penetrates.
It does.
It's amazing.
And with the concentration of flavors in these fresh cut herbs, you don't need to use very much, really, because the essential oils are really still in.
It's incredible.
This is a broadleaf sage, bear garden sage. Again, we cut for multi-purpose. Not only for chopping for flavor, but also for garnish. You get that. Dual purposes.
Every one is beautiful. You see every single one is cut at the stem for garnish quality, and they're beautiful. Beautiful microgreens.
Microgreens are something that has probably, like most food trends, has started in California, moved eastward, and has caught on here. They're basically a mix of different mustards and kales cut at a very mini size, at scissor work and really precise type work, but the response has been really good.
Strong.
Yeah. And in this season, with the tomatoes and the hot weather stuff coming on later, we're going to keep emphasizing these cool weather crops because it's cool. They just take a few days to germinate. You got to replant every week. It's not something that you can keep cutting. If it gets too hot, these kind of things kind of deteriorate. But I'll try to choose a shady area to extend the season. But as you know, I'll give you a warning.
Sure. Oh, you do that.
Let you know.
You do that.
Yes.
Yeah. couple of weeks, it seems like a new product is coming in, and one's going out, one's coming
Yes.
in.
Yeah.
You know, from the beautiful cherry tomatoes.
And you're a chef who's interested and aware enough of seasonality that you literally ask me what's new, and then we go from there.
Yeah, we can design our menus around that, and it's terrific. Here with Bob Russell of Russell Farms, and we had talked earlier off camera about heirloom product or heirloom growing, and maybe you can tell the viewers a little bit about the heirloom products themselves.
Heirloom seeds are seeds that have been handed down over the generations. When you take the seed, you know that it's going to be the type of tomato that has been possibly planted for a couple hundred years in America or around the world. Whereas a hybrid seed is a mix of different parents to get the end result. If you use those seeds again, you're not sure what parent you're going to get, what type of product.
More mass growing.
That's right, yeah, and the hybrids do have advantages of sometimes disease resistance, strength, but a lot of them are used for shipping and things like that by the industry. But in a small garden farming situation like this, we can use the heirlooms because we're picking them at the peak of ripeness, and shipping is not a factor because we pick them and bring them right in to Rehoboth Beach to you.
That's awesome.
Right. The heirlooms, like the Brandywine tomato, is reputed to be the best eating tomato in the world, and that has been grown in the East for hundreds of years. And we have it going right now up in Milford, and it's the same one that the early settlers had planted.
Bob just gave me a taste of his private stock parsley. That's good stuff.
It's still there too.
Oh, it's wonderful. I've been eating tarragon and parsley and basil.
Yeah, really.
You know?
Yeah, well,
I'm a walking salad.
That's part of the enjoyment out here. As I said, we're tasting all this to make sure it's good enough for you to have.
Out here today, tasting a lot of your herbs.
Yes.
I mean, that's what Flavour is all about.
It really is, and there's no mystery to it. It's just growing healthy plants and picking them and using them as soon as you can.
Right.
Because as soon as you pick them, you're going to lose some of the volatile oils and flavors, and through the shipping process from California or Mexico or overseas, you're going to lose them, and that's where we have our advantage, is that the freshness really locks in that flavor.
And we were talking about using fresh herbs to season and to add flavor instead of maybe cutting back on some of your salt.
You really can.
And I think
really
that's
can.
a key.
Definitely.
Everybody's trying to eat a little more healthy and
definitely
not trying to sacrifice their flavor.
No, and you get so satisfied with a meal with full flavor like this that you don't have to have all the, like you say, you don't have to have as much fats and
salts and
salts
things like
and all that.
Yeah, got a lot of color in here.
These are the gem marigolds. Run your finger over them. It's like a citrus flavor that you get.
Wow.
And right now, a nice little dessert garnish. And later in the year, when the plants are when we know that a frost is coming, we'll cut them. It's that type of thing. So a little more drama. We enjoy the farming part, but we love the cooking and the food part of it, and especially coming into your restaurant to see what you're going to do with it.
Well, we might have to have you back to the restaurant. We'll grab some of the products that maybe we get from you.
Oh, we could.
And maybe we'll have to sit down and sample a couple items.
Sample and talk about them in a kitchen environment. That'd be great.
We'll take them from here and see what we can do with them.
Fantastic.
I'm thinking of those tomatoes, and I'm looking at this basil, and I can already. Do you have any balsamic in the house?
I sure do. Yeah, and maybe a little mozzarella cheese.
There you go.
Let's go eat.
Let's go eat.
Yeah.
This is absolutely fascinating, and I know people viewing will just enjoy the wisdom that you passed on today. And it's always such a wonderful host.
It's good for you to see the gardens every once in a while as a chef.
Well, thank you, and we'll be back. Today we're going to do two cold soup preparations. We're going to do a Spanish-style gazpacho, and we're going to do a yellow tomato whip. They're both very easy to do, both very summer-like, using some of the Russell herbs and tomatoes and all fresh, wonderful ingredients. So if you'd like, we'll go ahead and get rolling here. What I have over here in the bowl, I have some small dice or medium diced tomato, cucumber. These are the Russell's English cucumbers. They're wonderful. Optional whether you want to leave the skin on or off. I'm going to leave it on just because I like contrast of colors. I'm using yellow peppers here. You could use green or red. It's whatever you'd like. Got cilantro, lemon juice. One of the fun things here is that in Spain they use bread to use their thickening, because often they use gazpachos as their main course, and it actually allows it to thicken the soup and to be a little more hearty. Also, the very fun part is I use a very nice flavored tequila. We're going to use a Salsa Gold today. You can certainly omit that from your recipe, or you can use another liqueur like a vodka or something of that nature. We're going to go ahead and start off. I've already done a little bit of the preparation ahead, and what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and add everything into one bowl, and we're going to combine. So I'm going to add my tomato, my cucumber here, my red onion, my yellow pepper, a bunch of chopped cilantro, lemon juice, go ahead and put my bread in there. And as you see here, I have a jalapeno, and that is optional for you however hot you want your gazpacho. If you see inside of the jalapeno here, most of your heat is going to come from your seated area here. If you go ahead and just peel the inside out like so and discard most of your seeds, you will have less heat and still retain that nice kind of smoky flavor to it. I think it adds great flavor to it. So we have most of our ingredients there. I'm going to go ahead and add a little salt and pepper. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a small teaspoon of garlic there, chopped garlic. Tabasco to taste, depending on how intense you want the heat, but I think the vinegar in the Tabasco really acts well. Speaking of vinegar, we're going to go ahead and add a little red wine vinegar. We can always add more, and we're going to taste it and re-season it when we're finished. This is a little Lee and Perrins, Worcestershire. I'll add that in like so. Now for the fun part, the tequila. In this portion here, I have about a 4 tomato gazpacho. We're talking about maybe 2 to 3 ounces of tequila in there for you. And last but not least, we're going to go ahead and add our tomato juice. And this is a regular canned tomato juice that is fine. And you want to cover that, pretty much cover your ingredients. But this is supposed to be a hearty soup. It's not supposed to be a real brothy thing. So don't be afraid to keep it thick. We'll go ahead and mix it in here. And we'll go ahead and add it to our blender here. I have a high-speed blender here, which is great. And I'm going to not try to break it apart. I'm going to do more of like a 2 count on my blender, just to incorporate it. I don't want a puree. I want to have more of a chunky style soup. So I'm just going to go ahead and pulse it a couple times. I'll go ahead and put it on high, and this will actually twice is perfect. And we'll go ahead and turn that out, and let you see what we're looking at. We went ahead and pulsed that a couple times here, and that is more or less what you're looking for here. You're looking for, you still want to have the little bit of the chunks, but the bread's broken down, and as it sits, it'll continue to soak in, so it'll be a little more hearty. I'm going to go ahead and pulse the rest of this and get our soup ready, and I'll show you how we can turn it out. So let me go ahead and finish this up. We've gone ahead and pureed the rest of the gazpacho up, and it's looking wonderful here. Some people use a little bit of olive oil in there. That's fine. I have chosen not to in this particular batch. What I would like to do at this time is to go ahead and re-season it if you feel necessary. And we'll go ahead and turn it out. What we're going to do here is I like to do martinis. Love to use martini glasses in preparation. I think it looks very elegant on your table. And so we're just going to go ahead and ladle about 4 ounces into our martini glasses. That looks wonderful. Now with the gazpacho, I haven't done this one, but you probably want to chill it for, I mean, you can make this even the day before, and the flavors will macerate and just become more intense and wonderful. A garnish that is very typical with gazpacho would be sour cream. So we'll go ahead and put a little dollop of sour cream in the center. You can garnish it with any kind of herb. I have the Russell's tarragon here. I'm going to add a little bit of a licoricey or minty flavor to it. Cilantro certainly would be the obvious choice. And I went ahead and grilled off a couple of shrimp earlier. And I think this is a fun way to have a little cocktail or first course cocktail party, or if you're having a nice little dinner. This is something that you can do ahead of time, and you can be part of your party instead of being in the kitchen the entire time slaving away. So to me, I think that is a very elegant but simple. Have a couple nice doily plates that you probably want to serve them on. And that will be our first soup today. It's a real traditional style Spanish gazpacho, garnished with sour cream. We have a couple grilled shrimp on there, and garnished with tarragon. So when we come back, we're going to go through the tomato whip, and you'll see how easy this one is too. So. I hope you enjoyed that first soup and how easy it was to put together. And on those warm, hot days that we still have, those Indian summer days in September, I think that would still be a great option to have. And then, of course, next summer would be wonderful. The second soup that we're going to do is currently on our menu. It's called a yellow tomato whip. And I'm almost embarrassed about how easy this is, but it is just 4 ingredients, and it is a burst of summer. And it would be a great thing for September, like the early part of September as well, before we start going into the autumnal type of cooking. But again, in a blender, I've gone ahead and diced up or done a rough chop on some yellow tomatoes. I have 2 yellow tomatoes here right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and add those right into my blender. I'm going to go ahead and add a couple pinches of sea salt. You can use kosher salt or whatever. Idea is not to be overly salty, and you can always garnish. One of the things we do is we use a little sea salt to garnish the outside. So, you know, you take one bite and you'll think like, well, I could use one more thing, and all of a sudden the sea salt bursts in your mouth, and it's a great combination of using flavors. So I have the yellow tomatoes already chopped and in the blender, a little bit of the sea salt, and we're going to use a white balsamic vinegar. The white balsamic is basically the same flavor as the regular dark balsamic, but not aged in the oak to get the deep color. And we're looking for this soup to be very yellow and bright and vibrant. So we're going to use something that's not going to contrast it. For those 2 tomatoes there, we're going to go ahead and use about half an ounce of the mixture. But we've added the white vinegar, we have the yellow tomatoes, a little sea salt. We're going to add some fresh basil to this. And for the 2 tomatoes there, I'm going to take one full, I guess, cutting here, and we'll use like 3 or 4 of the leaves here. And I use just a tiny bit of water. This helps with the emulsification, just a little bit. This whole soup is more or less based on a temporary emulsion type of idea. It is meant to be eaten right away, and you know, that's the way we do it. We blend it right there to order. You're getting it as fresh as possible. If you let it sit for a long period, it tends to separate. It still tastes good, but won't have the beautiful texture to it. It has like a velvety texture. We're going to go ahead and blend this up right now. Once again, I have a very nice high-speed blender. Yours might not be able to get as fine, but the flavors are still going to be wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and bring a couple of chilled bowls over. And the idea of this soup is to kind of go shallow with it. So we're going to go ahead and keep it somewhat shallow. And I think you can come up with some good ideas of what to garnish this with. I think maybe taking maybe a red tomato stack with some kind of cheese in between, maybe bake it and do a cold and hot preparation would be great. Go ahead and put that right in the middle. We go ahead and garnish it a little bit with balsamic to let that yellow contrast come out. and also to enhance the flavor from the reduced balsamic. And I think we've covered this already. It's basically taking balsamic vinegar and reducing it in half, gets nice and thick. Flavors are great. At the restaurant here, we do a balsamic ice cream, or sorbet, I should say. And we will go ahead and put that in like that. And that would be one of our garnishes here for our soup. I'll go ahead and just garnish one of them like that. And then, if this will work, put a little bit of a basil. I'll just set it on top. Do a little basil crisp there. But that's it right there. I mean, you can't get more simple than that, and shouldn't be afraid to try this one. But it's a yellow tomato whip with balsamic vinegar, sea salt. In this particular one, it's garnished with a basil sorbet. In the sorbet, I put a little bit of sambuca. Join us next week as we take a trip to Bin 66 at Rehoboth Beach and meet Tom Poor. Tom Poor is a sommelier and wonderful with his wine selections and pairings. They'll go along with some of the things that we've had or prepared today with the tomato soups. Bob Russell, myself, and he will talk a little bit about the pairings of the wines and the foods. I'm also doing a lamb and arugula salad with white beans, and we'll be interested to see what his selections are for that. So we'll see you next week, and thank you very much. Thanks for joining us today. I hope we've given you a few ideas to put flavor on your menu. Dare to explore your culinary horizon. I'm Kevin Reading. We'll see you next week.